Здравейте, аз съм Цветана Димитрова от научен секретар на Института за български език и ще ви представя нашия днешен лектор, доктор Ана Михалевич от отдела за речник на хърватската редакция на старобългарски език към Старославянския институт в Загреб. Доктор Михалевич е завършила класическа филология и хърватска филология към университета в Загреб, както и класическа гимназия. Била е учител по латински и по хърватски. През 2018 година защитава докторска степен към университета в Загреб на тема синтаксиса на хърватските глаголически текстове, преведени от латински. От 2019 година работи към Старославянския институт в Загреб. Носител е на множество награди, от които последната е националната научна награда за млади учени на Хърватия. Автор е на монографията "Хърватски глаголически текстове, преведени от латински, синтактичен анализ". Днес ще ни гостува с лекция, тъй като е гост изследовател към нашия институт в рамките на участието на двата института в проекта за изграждане на европейска лексикографска инфраструктура Лекция, който е финансиран по програмата Хоризонт 2020. И давам думата на доктор Михалевич за нейната лекция.
Thank you for this introduction, and thank you. I wish to thank everybody that's helped me in the last couple of days with my multiple problems concerning our lexicographic project. So as you can see on this slide, I hope you can see my slides. The topic of my presentation is Croatian Church Slavonic in the digital era. And I think that we would all agree that the era is definitely digital, but unfortunately, or maybe not unfortunately, but that's just how it is. At this point, the description and research of Croatian Church Slavonic does not fully follow all the modern digital and electronic trends. But in the last couple of years, there have been some improvements, and we hope to develop some further tools and projects in the future. And we hope to become fully digital, or at least to a further degree in the proximate future. In this presentation, I will talk about three projects I'm currently working on. Most of them are based in the Old Church Slavonic Institute in Zagreb. At the beginning, so I will begin this presentation by saying something about my home institution, since it's quite a small and lesser known institute, even in Croatia, and then especially in the rest of Europe. So our institute was founded 120 years ago. So this year we, the same as you, we celebrate a big anniversary. It was founded under the name of Old Church Slavonic Academy. And then 50 years later, it changed its name to its current name. Old Church Slavonic Institute. Currently, we have 14 scientists working at our institution, and they are divided into 4 scientific departments. So we have a department for paleography, for grammar, for literature, and for dictionary. We always say that we are the main Croatian institution whose research focuses on Croatian glagolitic script and Croatian glagolitism, but we also have some of our scientists also work on Croatian Cyrillic texts as well. At the end of this slide, you can see our webpage. So it's tin.hr. Currently, it's only in Croatian, but we plan to change that as well in the near future. And here you can find out more about our institute, our projects, but also about Croatian glagolitic script in general, our sources, our corpus, something about the language we research, and so on. This is how our building usually, our institute usually looks like. We are always very proud of this very beautiful building. Currently it's under reconstruction because of the major earthquake 2 years ago, but we hope to be able to welcome you soon in this building, and we hope that at least some of you will be able to visit us in near future. I will next say something about Croatian Church Slavonic, so the language we analyze, we research. It's basically, the language is based on the Old Church Slavonic, but is under a major influence of Croatian Čakevian vernacular. It was used from the end of 11th until the 16th century, and unlike most of your texts, Croatian Church Slavonic texts were mostly translated from Latin or revised according to Latin source text or protographs. Our texts were mostly written in the glagolitic script, in the so-called Croatian or Angular version of this script. I will first say the first project I will present today is the Scientific Center of Excellence for Croatian Glagolitism. This is a project that started in 2014 and has since then been the biggest project based in our institute, and the most important one since it has the biggest funding, and we all know that currently it's the most important thing. So the main goal, so the project is based at the Old Church Slavonic Institute in Zagreb, but it includes various institutions and scientists from various countries, including Bulgaria. The main goal of the project is to develop an interdisciplinary theoretical framework for the study of glagolitic scriptoria. And we chose the manuscripts from Beram, a small town near Pazin in Istria, as a subject of our research. So those are 2 breviaries and 2 missals. So before this project, various types of scientists analyzed the different aspects of different glagolitic texts. So for example, I like syntax, and I would analyze the syntax of one text. And my colleague, who is interested in paleography, would analyze the paleographical aspects of another text, and so on. And in this project, we decided to focus all these types of research on the same text. So we decided to analyze these 4 books, so 2 breviaries and 2 missals, from different angles, from linguistical, textological, literary, theoretical, paleographical, liturgical, and art historical point of view. This is how this small town of Beram looks like, so it's also a very nice place to visit. Up to now, we have published 7 books, And there are 3 more that are almost done, that are in the process of publishing. On this slide, you can see the webpage of the Scientific Center of Excellence. It is one of 3 scientific centers of excellence in the field of humanities in Croatia. And on this page, you can find further details. There is even a version in English. As a part of the project, a special database is being compiled that is now partially available for the general public, but will be fully available after the project has ended. Now I will show you how this database looks like from the inside. So it is currently not available in this form for the general public, but only for project members. And I will show you what we use it for. So these are the options it offers. It's in Croatian, but I think you will be able to understand. So words, tokens, labels, statistic data. The statistic data are very important for us because up to now we didn't have a corpus that could automatically give us statistic data. Everything had to be done manually, so we always had to count each and every word we were interested in. And here it's really, for us, it's really much easier. This way we get all the data automatically. And some other options here. So the first step in the process was to transcribe the original text, and we used to do that manually, and it took quite a lot of time, and it was a very tiring process. So the first 2 books were transcribed manually. So these were the 2 breviaries, but with the 2 missals, so the next 2 books, we started using Transcribus, and its model developed by Achim Rabus for our glagolitic texts. And I have talked to some of you about this program. I know that some of you are familiar with it and use it as well. And some of you don't use it, but were interested in our in how we're using it and if we're satisfied with it and so on. So we are really satisfied with it. It doesn't work 100% accurately. We still have to revise everything the program gives us, but it's much faster, and it's a totally different approach. It's much, much easier, and it takes the time difference is really uncomparable. So once we enter these transliterated text into the database, you can see that some words are in different colors. So the system automatically recognizes the words it already has in the database. Those are the one written green and black. And the purple ones are the new words that we have to add manually. So the next step is a grammatical and paleographical description. So each word is grammatically and paleographically labeled. The system offers everything it already has in the base automatically, and the person working on a specific line or specific part has to just choose if there is something in the system that describes the word he or she wishes to describe. And if the description that is offered, so in this example, we have Zovet, and it offers only one grammatical description. If we're not satisfied with it, if we think it's not correct, then we can choose we can define the form, describe the form completely manually. So we label the grammatic aspect. We also define special colors of the letters. So if anything is written red, yellow, blue, or brown. And we also give different we had different paleographical, described different paleographical features such as ligatures, Cyrillic letters, Latin letters, and so on. This database can be searched according to different features. These are all the tokens in the base. So not all the tokens, but if you choose to see everything, this is what you will see. So currently there's 600,000 words in the database. You can choose to see only different forms. So this is how it's gonna look. And you can, of course, search a specific word type, specific form, or whatever you want. So I was recently writing a paper about prepositions in the first breviary. And it's really much easier. You just click that you want to see all the prepositions with a certain case, and everything is automatically listed. Before we had to, of course, either read the entire text or guess what we'd like to search. And it's always difficult with the non-standardized languages such as Croatian Church Slavonic, where a single word can be written in various ways, and there can be various forms of a single grammatic form. Here you can see all the ligatures that appear in the first breviary, so that's also a possibility. We can choose to see these paleographic features. In the database, there is something called a dictionary. This is how a one-word BT looks like in this dictionary. But as you can see, currently, it does not give the definition of the word. It just gives the canonical forms. So here the infinitive written in Cyrillic and Glagolitic script, and you can see all the forms that appear in our corpus. In the future, we plan to connect this dictionary to our lexicographic project, and we plan to add definitions. But for now, this is what you can see. But it's also very useful, since it's often difficult to predict all possible forms of a certain verb, since, as you can see, a lot of them are abbreviated, written in different ways, and so on. So this also helps if you're analyzing a certain text or interested in a specific word or in a specific form. If we choose some of these forms, we can see where it appears in the corpus, and the links lead directly to the corpus. So we could click on this 82b, for example, and we would see the text where this form is attested. We plan to continue the work on this project as well after the project officially ends. We hope to add more breviaries and missals after this first period, and we hope that this could be the basis of our digital corpus, since we're currently mostly working on paper corpuses, as you will see in the next part, in the following part of the presentation. The second project I will say something about today is our lexicographic project, the compilation of the dictionary of the Croatian redaction of Church Slavonic. I have talked to many of you about this project, so I know this part will be a bit repetitive. I hope you won't be terribly bored. So the project ended. It's a long-term project of Croatian Church Slavonic Institute in Zagreb. It started, the whole idea started in 1958, when the idea of compiling the dictionaries of old redactions of old Church Slavonic arose at the 4th International Slavistic Congress in Moscow. In 1991, the first fascicle was printed, and so far 23 fascicles have been printed with dictionary entries from A to I. That is unfortunately less than a third of the overall number of letters. So when you hear these numbers, when you hear these years, the following question arises. The question is, why does the dictionary compilation process take such a long time? The first reason are the default characteristics of the corpus. I will say something about the corpus in a few minutes. The second is the complexity of our dictionary entry, which also reflects the quality and the extent of lexicographers' engagement necessary to complete it. I will say something about the dictionary entries a bit later. The next one is the fact that the project currently has no funding, and there's only 3 of us plus a PhD student who are working on it, and all of us are also engaged in other projects. And the last reason for slow compiling process is the fact that the process itself is really old-fashioned, and the MS Word is the only technology tool. I know that you also write your dictionary in Microsoft Word, but I have seen you use various different programs for your corpora and so on. For us, it's only MS Word, and that's it. This is how our corpus looks like. So our corpus was excerpted from 66 glagolitic sources. It is handwritten paper card file corpus. This is an example from a so-called Azbuka card file. We also have source card file. So this is an example for source card file. And we have 3 additional card files containing Croatian Church Slavonic lemmas with a list of their Latin and Greek equivalents. Greek lemmas with Croatian Church Slavonic and Latin equivalents, and Latin lemmas with Croatian Church Slavonic and Greek equivalents. So if you look at this card, in the upper left corner, you can see the lemma. It's Latin and Greek equivalent. So the lemma is always written in Cyrillic script, as well as the text, the Croatian Church Slavonic text. The lemma and the text are originally, of course, written in glagolitic script, but in the corpus, they have been transliterated as Cyrillic. In the upper right corner, you can see a source abbreviation and a text identificator. In this example, you can see that it's a Bible verse. The largest part of the card is a Croatian Church Slavonic text with Latin and or Greek parallel, depending on the text. These cards were written in over 20 different handwritings. So I have seen that at your institute you have typed corpus, and we're very jealous because for us it often happens that it's there's especially one handwriting that is terrible and that we're usually not able to read. We usually just try to read the Croatian Church Slavonic source in order to go to be able to look at the original, because these handwritings are horrible. So I was very jealous at seeing that you don't have this kind of problem. Both of these corpora, so the Azbuka and the source card file, have been scanned. They are in the process of OCR, but as you can guess, this process is very complicated and it's not giving very good results. This is how our dictionary entry looks like. So it's a 5 idiom and 4 script entry. So you can see here that we have a word written in glagolitic script, then in Cyrillic script. We list the sources where this word can be found. Then we give Croatian equivalent, English equivalent, Latin and Greek equivalent. Then the examples written both in, first in Croatian Czechoslovak example, then Latin or Greek, depending on the text. The dictionary also has rich microstructures, so it offers orthographic, graphic, syntactic, morphological, semantic, stylistic, distributional, usage, illustrative, and interlingual data. Latin is also a meta language, as you can see here, this translacija Romeo. So as I have already mentioned, both card files are in the process of OCR. There is a possibility, especially with some sources, of selecting examples from corpus and copying them automatically, but this doesn't work perfectly and is a bit complicated. So we usually just write the examples manually. Latin word list with Croatian Czechoslovak equivalents, Greek word list, and Croatian Czechoslovak word list with Latin and Greek equivalents are only in the physical form, and they are a crucial part of compiling our dictionary, because that is the way we find synonyms. They're only in the physical form. So for us, it was a very big problem working during this COVID, during this pandemic period, because we weren't able to finish any, we would work up to a certain point, but we couldn't finish a word because we couldn't find the equivalents, the synonyms without these card files. There are a few ongoing projects. I mentioned one before. So there are a few ongoing projects concerning the digitization of Croatian Czechoslovak sources, which form part of our dictionary corpus as well. Some others are listed here. So we hope that in future we are gonna have a digital, some kind of a digital corpus that we could use for this project as well. Our main question concerning corpus is, could such a corpus be prepared in a way that it could be managed by a corpus query system to support the analysis of the language? Here I mentioned Sketch Engine because we often work with Sketch Engine in our research, but with corpora of modern Croatian, if we're interested in a certain word, how it works in Croatian nowadays, if we're not sure if there is a specific meaning, or in our scientific research, if we're doing diachronical analysis or something like that. And Sketch Engine is often used by Croatian lexicographers working on modern dictionaries. I have seen that you also have various programs you are working with concerning on your corpus. For now, for us, it's really a big problem that we have to do everything with the cards. One of the problems is that we have many versions of the same text, and all the individual differences are actually relevant for the lexicographers, since the differences are stated in the dictionary entry as well. The second set of problems is connected to the previously published volumes. So unlike your dictionaries that are available online, ours is unavailable online. It's available only in print for now. We have a scanned version of the dictionary that is partly optically read, but there are a lot of problems with the unstandardized letters. And as you could see, we have various scripts. So there's problems with reading Greek, glagolitic script, and so on. The older volumes are searchable only partly, and they are available, these searchable versions are available only for the project members. So the question is what to do with these previously published volumes. These are some of the possibilities. So the first possibility is to leave them only in the printed form. We don't think that is the best option. Actually, we think it's probably the worst option. Another possibility is to publish them online in the current form of digitization, so as a PDF file that's partly searchable. We have the newer fascicles that have been written in the last, I don't know, 15 years. They are completely searchable, but the older volumes are only partly searchable. The question is, should we work on further enhancements of the OCR? Should we try to retro-digitize it as an unstructured text, or maybe present in a way on a dictionary portal and so on? And our main question is it possible to connect previously published volumes and work on the previously published volumes with a new dictionary compilation? As you have already heard, there's only 3 of us, so we have to decide what is more important. Should we focus on our corpus? Should we focus on the previously published volumes, or just continue working as it is? This is how our dictionary compilation looks like currently. I think it's similar to how you're working currently. So all the examples, we compile the dictionary as a Word document. Everything is done manually. Editing is done manually, and it is also quite a slow process. This is how we label synonyms. So at the end of each word, we give synonyms labeled as CF, so confer, and we have some words referring to other words. And when we think about a future portal, we have the idea that this could all be in a way done as a link, so that you could click on a word and it would directly lead you to the word you were looking for, or to a synonym. So these are questions concerning the dictionary compilation. So the question is, could a dictionary writing system be used to support the preparation of the dictionary text? Would it be easier if we used a dictionary writing system? Or is our dictionary grammar just too complicated and we should stay where we are currently? We're also thinking about the order of lexicographic compilation. So currently we're working the same as you are working in Azbuka order, but we talked a lot about, we're wondering if the compilation by semantic fields would be better. This is how Croatian lexicographers working on modern Croatian are compiling the dictionaries. They find it much quicker and much easier if they have connected words. If we decide to continue presenting our work as a printed edition, then we think that it's impossible to abandon the Azbuka order. But if we decide to switch to web portal, then we have a feeling that it wouldn't be as important, that we could just put words from the same semantic field. And since we wouldn't print everything, that it wouldn't be necessary to follow the Azbuka order. The main problems, of course, are the lack of finances. I think that's something you can understand as well. And the lack of computer experts. I have talked to many of you about this problem. So in Croatia, there's this paradoxical situation where you can get the funding for the conferences, different, I don't know, different meetings and so on, but it's impossible to get the funding for a computer expert. So when they fund projects, there's always no money for the computer expert, and our institute doesn't have an IT employee who is an IT expert. So the problem is that we have to do everything ourselves, and so we're trying to find a solution that wouldn't involve too much programming, and that we would be able to do that ourselves. And in the end, I'm going to present another project that is a project that's not based, the main institution is not Old Church Slavonic Institute. The main institution here is the Institute of Croatian Language and Linguistics, but I am one of the project members, and this is this project has influenced and keeps influencing some of our decisions about what to do with our dictionary. So it's a project of the retro digitization of Croatian grammar books before Illyrism. These are some of the goals of this project. So the idea is to create a model for retro digitization of older grammar books. This model will include the multi-level markup of either transcribed or translated grammar texts, and we'll connect them with facsimiles. As a part of the project we're creating a web portal of Croatian grammar books before Illyrism. On this portal, the searchable digital versions of grammar books will be presented, connected with facsimiles. For each grammar, there will be the basic information will be given, and there will be a special index dictionary, let's say, of Croatian historical grammar and linguistic terminology. So it will be possible to browse these grammar books, both the text and facsimile, and it will be possible to search by predetermined parameters. We are marking up or labeling the conjunction and declension paradigms. So it will be that will be one of the search possibilities on this portal. The corpus consists currently of 8 grammar books written by Croatian authors from 17th to the second half of the 19th century that have been published as reference books. These are these grammar books we're currently working on. The problem is that these grammar books do not all describe Croatian, and they're not all written in Croatian, but they were written in different languages and they describe various languages, and they also differ in structure. So you can see here these grammar books, and you can see which language they describe and what is their meta language. We had a lot of problems with the TI labels for this markup process since we had to make a lot of changes in the original texts, and we decided to put all this, to describe all the process and give all the informations about the changes in the grammar text of reference books in the digitization process and all the discrepancies in the TEI header you can see here. So currently, the full text of the grammar books was edited in XML format. Since there was no existing model, we had a lot of problems along the way. We had problems with the forms that do not actually exist in Croatian, but that were, let's say, made up according to Latin grammar structure and for Latin descriptions. And currently we're in the final process, final part of the digitization process, where we're marking nominal and verbal paradigms in all selected grammar books. So this is everything I wanted to show you today. I am here if you have any questions or comments, both in English or Bulgarian. Here you can also, you have also my email once again, and you can also send me an email, right? If you have any ideas, comments, questions or something like that. And here you can see once again all the links where you can find more about our project. So thank you for your attention.
Благодаря на доктор Михалевич за интересната и информативна лекция.